What video game is extremely overlooked with a noticeably small player base? The Etrian Odyssey series comes to mind, though the later ones are quite a bit easier. It's a first-person dungeon crawler in which you draw your own map and create your own party. The music is fire, too. I highly recommend it. Laughing Face. Fantasy Life for the DS. The game has more to do in it than some big mainstream titles. Creeper World 3. On paper, it doesn't sound interesting. Rather simple graphics, just a good handful of units and a story not worth mentioning. But still a terra-forming RTS with the ocean as enemy, and for me just perfect if I don't want to remember quest logs, game mechanics, etc. and just want to have a relaxing time after a long day at work. You can even filter a big chunk of the maps by the time other players need it. Guns of Icarus is so much fun, but it's on life support right now and it makes me the big sad. SAS 4. Zombie Assault. It may be ditched by the devs, but it has great potential. It's on mobile and Steam. Folklore for PlayStation 4. I love it. It's so magical. The music is good and there is a mystery that needs to be solved. You play as two different characters and get to meet a whole cast of wonderful characters. Ogre Battle 64. Vib Ribbon *. It's an old rhythm game from 2000 on the PS1 made by the same team behind Pa-Rappa the Rapper that was never released in the US, only in Europe and Japan, where you have to hit the buttons on the controller in time with the music playing. But the gimmick behind it is that the game itself takes up so little space on the disc, it can load itself entirely into the console's memory. If you then put in any other audio CD, it will generate a level unique to that song. If you live in the US and/or you don't have a physical copy, the only other way to play it is on the PlayStation 3 store. As far as I know, it is still yet to be ported onto PS4, PS5. Music 2000, MTV Music Generator 1 ***, another obscure title for the PS1. This basically turned your PlayStation into a DAW, allowing you to create your own music. Sequencing, sampling, the whole thing. Had a sequel on the PS2, with another also on the original Xbox, as well as a spin-off on the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. Criminally underrated game, and is even the reason I make music today. Similar to Vib Ribbon. As far as I'm aware, it has never been re-released or ported and has never gotten a follow-up since. Okami. It is the lowest-selling game to ever win Game of the Year, 2006. We have a small, dedicated player base. Okami is beautifully animated, finely written, and along with a highly original story it has a brushstroke gameplay element that makes it truly like no other. Comix Zone. Hard as fuck, but great setting and gameplay. I never beat it, but it's a great game. I like this thread. I'ma save it and see what games I should buy and not play for a few years. LMAO. One Shot. It deserves so much more attention. It has an infinitely small player base at this point, in that it no longer has official servers, but *Nosgoth* was an absolute delight that was criminally overlooked. It was a 4v4 asymmetrical arena game where a group of humans, armed with ranged weapons, had to try and fight a group of hyper-mobile melee vampires. The humans basically had to move around as a group while the vampires tried to set up ambushes. The combat was fast and fun with really cool and unique abilities. Streets of Rogue. It's a roguelite game where you have to complete missions to free a city from an evil mayor, but there is a ton of choice as to how you approach them. I heard it described one time as a tabletop RPG where everyone is chaotic neutral. It's insane, amazing, and criminally underrated. Space Station 13. Most of these responses are from people talking about games that everyone has heard of, they just don't get played by enough people. That's fine, but I want to talk about my favorite game with a player base of just a few thousand people. Space Station 13 ***. It's an open-source multiplayer roleplay game where everyone has to work together on a space station by doing various jobs and making sure the station doesn't explode from the crew's incompetence. All the while avoiding dangers such as terror spiders, vampires, giant blobs that consume the station, cultists and rogue AIs. The game isn't for everyone though because of its incredibly outdated graphics, shitty server connection, and the fact there isn't really an end goal except do your job and survive until the end of the shift. I started playing last year and it's quickly become one of my favorite games. Plus it's completely free to play. Because of the roleplay element, it never feels like rounds ever play out the same, since other players always behave differently. I feel like almost every round I have some kind of story to tell due to how crazy some rounds can be, either because of other players or sheer randomness. I really recommend anyone to check it out if they're even remotely curious. Spiritfarer. It's a maintenance-style game where you build up your boat so that you can help animal spirits have one last special experience before you ferry them to the afterlife. I just started it, but already it's incredibly melancholy and beautiful. Before Your Eyes. The Pokémon Ranger series. I never hear anybody talk about it. Probably why we haven't had a new game since the DS Pensive Face. Under Night in Birth. Skies of Arcadia was groundbreaking for me. First game I played in which the exploration felt like an adventure. I'd love to know how it aged, but it's like $200. Good thing GameStop got mine for $5 15 years ago, haha. Foxhole *, totally not America and totally not Germany fight during World War II. But the scale of this needs to be seen to be believed. The reason it's impressive is the entire thing is player-driven. Every bullet you fire in this game was produced by somebody else, who had to mine resources, refine them, and then take them to a factory to be made into this bullet. And so was everything else. The last war just ended. It went on for over a month, real-world time, and there was millions of casualties on both sides. The war does not stop when you log off. It keeps going until it is over. Again, with everything used in it being made by players. When it finally is over, the devs wipe the map, rearrange things, and it starts over. Duskers *, this game is so much its own thing it's hard to describe it. This guy gets close. https://www.youtube.com/watch?mark v=e9g6 ****stalker. Shadow of Chernobyl ***. It's a survival horror FPS inspired by a Soviet art film. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=uoc-80w. You probably haven't seen, and that is about as bizarre inspiration for a video game I can possibly think of. It's janky. The graphics haven't aged all that well. There's more bugs than an ant hill. It's infuriatingly difficult. And there's a lot of cheeky breeky. You'll understand one day. But it's also genuinely unsettling and surreal and constantly finds new ways to surprise you and freak you the fuck out at the same time. If wandering around a decaying Soviet hellscape on heroin could be made into a video game, it would be this one. It was made in Ukraine. Nobody else could have made it. Nobody but the Slavs. Nobody. Dwarf Fortress *, the most complex game ever made. Simulates everything from weather patterns to water to smells to the fucking eyelids of cats. It's also genuinely fun and interesting. The insane amount of detail that goes into every newly generated world includes an entire history stretching over hundreds and possibly thousands of years. And I mean every single event that happens to anybody is recorded. Thousands upon thousands of characters, all with their own backstories, cultures, religions, failed marriages, adventures, whatever. The stories that come out of Dwarf Fortress are legendary. Just an example from my own playthroughs. I once had a dwarf in my fort. Oh yeah, you build a fort in it. Shocking, I know, go insane for some obscure reason I was never going to figure out. Mental illness strikes the best of people sometimes, and in this case it was a random psychotic break that resolved itself in him running down the hallway stripping off all of his clothes as he went. Much the shock and embarrassment of the guy's poor wife. He never did put his clothes back on, and spent his time running amok, babbling, and getting into fights. Eventually the mayor called a meeting. I can only speculate as to the subject. But whatever solution to this hypothetical problem was, it didn't matter. Because when our friend decided to stop wearing clothes, he also decided to stop eating and drinking. Unbeknownst to me, he had committed suicide via starvation. Damn. That's hardcore as fuck. Like, not even, I want to die, straight up fucking torturing yourself for weeks first. Fuck bro. I can't even. Anyway, I didn't have a coffin for him. So while I was waiting for my mason to finish a nice dwarfy stone one, his body started rotting, spreading a miasma throughout the fort and causing projectile vomiting in anybody unlucky enough to inhale it. All this, I might add, on the same day a local VIP was paying everyone a visit. Talk about embarrassing. Dwarf Fortress is psychotic and beautiful. It's also next to impossible to play in its current state. Which is another reason to play it. Because what are you, some kinda pussy? Afraid of ASCII, pussy? Are you? Kenshi post-apocalyptic samurais in Mad Max world chop each other's limbs off. The only way to gain strength is to suffer. Kenshi is a lot of things. It's an RTS, a survival game, RPG, slavery simulator. One thing it is not as boring. I mentioned slavery, for example. That wasn't a joke. The game actually simulates slavery. If you get arrested by the authorities in most games you lose. In Kenshi you are sold into slavery, marched across a desert to a stone quarry, and then forced to work on starvation rations while occasionally getting your ass kicked by the guards, who are all far, far, stronger than you. The game does not end. It keeps going until you figure out a way to escape. Can't think of one? Fuck you. You're not important. You're there because you suck. And that's the thing. Kenshi is a game where you are a nobody. You're not a hero. You're not a great warrior. You're nothing. Not unless you work for it. And boy howdy it gives you a lot of ways to work. You can be a weed farmer in this game if you want, never mind anything else. This shit will consume your life, fair warning. I've seen people mention Siphon Filter in the wild a grand total of twice. It started on the PS1 and was a good party of my childhood and teen years, but it seems no one really knows or remembers it. The voice acting was bonkers and the graphics were, well, it was a PS1 game, what can you do? Angels Fall First and Evocron Mercenary, Legacy. First one is similar to original Battlefront 2, but in addition it has starfighter combat with shipboarding. Basically same as Battlefield, but with nice additions that were promised in Battlefield 3 and as marketed in Star Citizen. The game basically died because devs did no marketing and community was very small. Second one is a space sim made by one man, and it has all persistent universe. All stellar bodies are landable and procedurally generated. Economy is both player and NPC driven. You can highly customize, modify ships, and you can build your stations and fleets by hiring NPCs and or players. Its only con is the graphics. It took the guy 12 years to make it, and not many would like these days playing a space sim with 2007 graphics when there are games like Elite Dangerous, NMS, EVE Online and etc. Hunt Showdown and Insurgency Sandstorm. Adventure Quest Worlds. Old Flash MMO. It's fantastic. I think it still gets weekly updates, if I'm not mistaken. Pokken Tournament PLs give me a second one. Outer Wilds, shit was fire. Pro tip. If it's on the Steam front page the game is not overlooked and if it has community content posted there regularly it has a large player base. Insurgency Sandstorm. Tetris Effect won loads of GOTY awards in 2018, and for good reason, but even multiplayer and the subreddit are mostly dead nowadays. Even thought it's one of the finest video games ever made IMHO. Aiden Chronicles the First Mage. It was an N64 game, but it was a serious RPG. People still play, and it's even being modded over at Aiden. It was a pretty cool game. Driver San Francisco. Pokemon Rumble. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Currently about $3 on GOG. Have played several thousand hours of this title since the late 1990s. Last game was 2 weeks ago. Pretty big player community, but most of them are oldsters like me. Surprised not to see it on this list. I've been gaming for approximately 40 years and this is one of my top 5, probably top 3. The Nancy Drew PC games. Town of Salem is similar to Among Us, but more complex. Vindictus. The game been out for 10 plus years, still active, but with a very small player base. The game itself is a bit difficult, so not many people stay around for long. And people think that the game is pay to win, but it can be farm to win too, just a little bit longer grind. Ground Branch. Pretty much the entire Rune Factory series. But mostly 3 and 4 are the top-tier quality titles, but all 6 are loved. Outward. Super submersive survival game that started as a Kickstarter, I think, so it never really had much advertising. The OST is really what brought it all together. Also, one of the few games left with local coupe still available. I played it on Xbone, but I think it's for PC and PlayStation as well, but I'm not sure. Pretty much all MUDs. I have not seen a single one top 200 players at a time. Advance Wars 1 and 2 on the GBA. I played the crap out of that as a kid, and I've never met anyone else in the last 15 years that has ever played it. Wargroove. Turn-based, grid strategy game. A nice variety of ground, air, and marine troops. Commanders with unique abilities. Super fun game. Dwarf Fortress, objectively one of the greatest games of all time, but small player base and generally unknown. Quantum Break, and the 2015 King's Quest reboot. Golden Sun. Deep Rock Galactic. Amazing 4-player co-op game. Super simple and fun design. ... and nobody knows about it ... and #X200B. Edit. A kind stranger informed me that it's actually in Steam's top 100 games by current player count right now, so it's really not as small a player base as I thought. Good for them. I'm glad to see it grow in popularity. Rock and Stone. Ruse is still my favorite RTS to date, but UBI had absolutely horrible marketing for the game, including a main trailer that didn't really show anything about the game. And they didn't renew licenses, so they had to stop selling the game. There's still usually 10 people on PC at any time, but damn, do I wish I could get a few more codes for my friends. Freedom Fighters. Zero Escape. SWAT 4. A game where you play as a SWAT leader and you go on missions, and you can also give orders to your team like, flashbang this room and clear it, or check for any enemies or civilians in the room before entry. There is also a Optiwand which helps you to look around corners and under the doors. Cool game, but really old, like from 2005. I hope we get a new SWAT-like game. Guns the Duel. The easiest way to define it, although not really true, would be 3D Super Smash Bros. With guns, mechanically speaking. It's a ultra-high skill cap PvP game, but the player base is super small. Probably the smallest I've ever seen. Thanks for watching. See you later.